Hey everyone, I'm Heinz and welcome to my channel. And in this video, I will show you the top 5 mistakes to avoid for Forex trading success using Dark Venus EA. But before we begin, I want to ask you for a quick favor. Please take a moment to hit that like button on this video. Also subscribe and turn on the bell, enabling notifications to stay up to date with my future videos. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I see, especially amongst new traders, is trading Dark Venus with the default settings. They see the expert advisor with its 4.5-star rating and over 100,000 downloads, and they expect you can use it directly on the default settings on the 5-minute or 1-minute time frames. What they do is simply load the Euro USD on the 5-minute time frame and attach the bot as is. Now, there are a couple of problems when doing this, so let's take a look at these. Now, the main reason why people often do this is because of the high frequency trading rate of the robot. They immediately see good profits and rises in their account balance. This means even after a couple of days or a few hours, the bot is already generating a few different trades that are ending in a profit. However, they don't understand the risk that is involved in trading it just as is and not taking the time to getting to know the bot better or to customize the settings to get the most out of the expert advisor. And all they notice is their account balance going up and up and up, and never take into consideration the risk or the drawdown that is involved in trading the expert advisor. Now, many traders get lucky, and the first few weeks or months that they trade the expert advisor, the market might be ranging. And what will happen, because it is a high frequency trading robot, it will generate a very healthy return very quickly. However, if you don't keep an eye on the drawdown or the times to trade, eventually this can get out of hand. Let's take a look at an example of this. Using the default settings, what we're going to do is test the expert advisor over a 2-month period. So what we're going to do is we're going to test it from the 1st of September 2023 until the end of October 2023. And what you will notice, because of the high frequency trading strategy, the bot is immediately able to generate high returns. However, because they didn't take the time to read through the expert advisor, they have no idea what the strategy is actually doing in the background or the risks that are involved. So here we'll see an example of the bot trading on default settings straight through 2 months of trading and more than doubling the account in those 60 days, ending on a very high profit for such a smaller balance of starting at only $500 and ending at over $1,200, which means a more than 100% return. Remember, traders are governed by emotions like fear and greed, and because they see these immediate quick returns, they believe that the bot is unstoppable. For this example, you'll see that in the 2 months it generated over $800 in profit. However, for those experienced traders that know, if you start from a different period and test the default settings, eventually there might be a large event in the market that could potentially blow or wipe your whole account. The reason for this is, on default, the bot doesn't have a stop loss or equity protector in place, meaning your entire account is at risk trading it like this. Now, this brings me on to my second fatal mistake, which is trading every day and every hour, 24/5 for my Forex traders or 24/7 for those trading crypto. So what we just saw from the previous example is the bot blowing the account from the 10th of January 2023 until the end of October. However, if you change the bot to only trade during times when the market is consolidating by enabling the trading hour filter according to broker server time, you can change it to only trade from 2 or let's say until 4 in the morning according to my GMT plus 2 times, and this could potentially help you from not being in the market when these high risk events like news events happen. Now I have already created a set file for the Euro USD that I featured in a previous video, which is called the Tokyo Scalper, and I will leave a link to that video that goes into more details about trading the correct hour for the pair and how to adjust the set file to get these types of results even on default. Now, by using the small adjustments, simply changing the permitted hours of trading in a day, you can see what a big difference this has made to the trading account. Still generating a healthy return, doubling the account in 10 months is really impressive, giving you a 100% growth rate. However, we were able to mitigate the risk involved by changing when the bot entered its trades. This we can see from the results, because on the results it will show that most of the entry times were during 2 and 3 in the morning and then phasing them out during the day as the market moved. This also had a dramatic effect on our equity drawdown, which went down to $300. Another major mistake that I often see from new traders is trading the major pairs. For example, on my market list, I've currently added the AUD USD, USD CAD, GBP USD, and Euro USD. Now, all of these major pairs have one thing in common, and that is that they are USD based. And if we set the set file back to default, which is a way a lot of new traders are using it, and run the set file against all of the symbols in my market list, what do you think will happen? Yes, of course, because of the high amount of news events, most of the accounts will either be completely blown or in a negative result. The reason for this is these four pairs are predominantly USD based, as long as all of them being major pairs that are highly affected by manipulation and news events. This is an example of all of the news events for only the USD pair over the month of November. Now, some of these events have already happened, and then we have a few more upcoming events as well. And you will notice the dramatic quantity of events that happen for this one pair. On top of this, the pair gets manipulated a lot in the market, and this is something that you need to be aware of. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of traders make is regarding their understanding of the grid. On default, Dark Venus is a grid trading bot. However, it doesn't mean that you have to use the grid. If you don't want to trade with a grid, you can simply disable the grid and make a couple of changes where the bot will only trade one trade at a time. A lot of people complain about the grid, however, you don't have to use it. Let's take a look at an example. I'm going to still use the Euro USD but switch to the hourly. Next, I'm going to change to a different strategy, and the bot has 6 different strategies built in, and I will use the trend following strategy, which is number 3. The other setting that I'm going to change is allow buy and sell at the same time, because this bi-directional option is typically used for bi-directional grid trading. On top of this, we now need to set a stop loss and take profit. For this, I'm going to change to a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward, updating the take target to 600 points or 60 pips, and I'm going to change the stop target to 400 points or 40 pips, and select the stop target mode for the first order. What this will do is make the bot trade with only one trade at a time. And the way that you can see this is by looking at the deposit load graph at the bottom of the backtest. And you will see the gaps between the deposit loads or entries, showing us that the bot is now only trading one trade at a time. A lot of the complaints that I've been seeing about the bot is using the grid or martingale strategy. However, there's no compulsory thing that you need to use it. You can simply disable it under the settings. One of my favorite things about Dark Venus is it offers a lot of customization for new and experienced traders. And if you take the time to go through the manuals and learn how to use the bot, it can really help you improve as a trader. On top of this, the bot is free, meaning anyone can use it and learn how to do algorithmic trading on their own. By making these couple of adjustments to the expert advisor, we are now able to trade without a grid or martingale function. This we can see again from the deposit load at the bottom, showing us that each is only one trade at a time, and each trade has its own stop loss and take profit, risking 40 pips to make 60 pips, giving us a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Now, using the same period from the 10th of January until the end of October, you'll see that the bot is generating an over 10% return in these 10 months, showing us that even without the grid, the bot is still profitable. However, you would have seen from the previous results, using a grid, even though it is dangerous, can give very healthy returns. Now, something that you will notice from this graph, as with many other manual trading strategies, it will go through periods when it wins a couple of trades in a row, then also loses a couple of trades in a row. There's no such thing as a 100% win rate strategy. And for this reason, if you want to trade without the grid, simply disable the grid and set a stop loss and take profit, which you can of course optimize using the optimizations options available on MetaTrader. Now, using the strategy with a set stop loss and take profit using a trend following entry, we were able to generate over a 10% return with only a 6.79% drawdown. We have a healthy profit factor of 1.27. However, we only won 46% of the trades because of the positive risk to reward ratio. We were able to generate the over 10% return. Now, the other side of the spectrum that a lot of traders do is use the grid. However, they don't take the time to understand how the grid works. So what we are going to do for our next example is customize the grid to see if we can trade over the same period. Now, from our previous example, we saw if we traded the grid on default 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, eventually it would blow the account. However, for such a small account, what we can do is increase the spacing and customize the grid to our preferred strategy. Now, the default strategy buys on the outside and sells on the outside of the Bollinger Bands. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make all grid orders comply with this indicator strategy. Then on top of this, you can also customize your grid to comply with market hours condition and the weekday condition if you only want to trade specific days of the week. Now, because we are trading the Euro USD pair that is a tendency to strongly trend, we are going to increase the minimum distance from 50 points or 5 pips between the grid to 250 points or 25 pips. This will give us a wider spacing between each order. On top of that, the coefficient grid management can be thought of as the multiplier. And for this example, I'm also going to make it a bit more dynamic, increasing the amount of spacing between each trade by 1.1. Now, when we take a look at the deposit load again and compare it to the previous one, you'll see that the equity curve does stay below it quite often, which is typical of these grid or martingale style bots. However, we don't get the large spikes in deposit load because we have decreased the grid coefficient, meaning the lot sizing will stay smaller for longer. So by making those couple of changes to the grid, increasing the grid spacing, decreasing the coefficient, you will notice that it has successfully traded through the same period as which it has previously blown the account. Compared to the results of the single trade strategy, you will see that our total net return is now $643.95, meaning over 100% growth with a profit factor of 2 and all of the trades in the grid 186%. Our equity drawdown was $215.45 or 26.02%. By simply adjusting the grid according to your own preferences, you're able to make the bot trade more dynamically. Now, this brings me on to my last mistake that I often see traders make, and this is by running it on default and trading without a stop loss. Now, a stop loss or equity protector are two of the most important things, and even for some traders that use it, they often use it in the incorrect way. Now, Dark Venus has three different options when it comes to stop loss. The first one is in points. We have three options that we already looked at. Then you also have a set monetary amount that you can use, where you set a specific dollar amount where you want the expert advisor to stop trading. And then lastly, we have our percentage stop loss, which changes as your balance grows, which is the one that I like to use most often. Now, when it comes to the percentage loss settings, something else that I see often happen is traders selecting too small a percentage for their account size. For example, we currently have an account balance of $500, meaning if we have a percentage loss of 5%, we are only giving the grid $25 worth of breathing room. And what this will do is when the market starts trending, you will have a lot of losses happening, which could potentially eliminate all of your profits by not giving the grid enough breathing room. Remember, in grid trading, we are waiting for the market to return to the mean so that we can take profits from both buy and sells. A way to do this is to select a percentage amount that works for your account balance. Now, from our previous example, we saw a maximum equity drawdown of 26%. So for this, I've now set it at 30%, meaning if there is a major event that happens, that it will cut out the bot at 30% of the current equity balance. Now, as the account balance grows, it will give and grow alongside it. So by doing this, we have a final failsafe or equity protector in place. This gives us the surety that even if something major happens in the world, like a war or famine or anything like this, that we have this failsafe to help us save the account, even though we will take a loss. By correctly using the grid, this should be limited. So what you will notice is now that the balance has gone up. It's no longer just the original starting amount of $150, but it's now increased to 30% of the current balance. So by combining all of these different things, you can really use the advanced customization available for the robot. And if you'd like to learn more about the advanced settings that are available for the expert advisor, I'll leave a video to it link down in the description below. On top of all of this, there are pairs that are more prone to sideways market or returning to the means, and there are pairs that are more trendy than others. For example, I would recommend if you wanted to trade the Euro USD on a small balance, by combining all of the different mistakes into one, you could potentially trade the Euro USD. However, you'll still need to be very careful of large news events. So even with our failsafe in place, and from a bot that previously blown the account completely, we are now able to safely trade over the last 10-month period using the Dark Venus Expert Advisor. Now, there is no such thing as the best expert advisor. It's rather finding the expert advisor that suits your trading style and risk preference. In this video, we already saw that you don't have to use the grid or martingale if you don't want to. And I constantly hear people blaming the bot, but they don't understand how customizable it is and for how many different instruments it can be used. Now, if you'd like to learn more about some of the advanced features and settings, make sure to subscribe to my channel. With that, I want to say thank you for watching. Until next time, happy trading. Bye.